I was just patient, never try skating. Fuck niggas hating.
Okay, I'm gonna be totally real for a second. I'm gonna assume that because you clicked on this video, you consider yourself a hopeless romantic. If you don't, now is the time to leave. Nothing I'm going to say is going to be relative to you. Okay, so you don't need to jump in the comments. You don't need to insult anybody. You don't need to do any of that. All you just need to do is log off because you feel like I am not a hopeless romantic man. Therefore, this content is not geared towards you. If you are still here beyond that disclosure, I'm going to make the perfect assumption that you are and or consider yourself a hopeless romantic man. These movies here are some of the movies that you have watched, you related to, you can watch more than one time. In one way or the other, felt connected or felt like they told your story. And sometimes you might feel like your life deserves to be in a romantic comedy, like not Hitched, Coming to America, especially the part where Eddie Murphy or Akeem decided to lie to a woman from Queens about being a goat herder when he was really royalty from Africa in order to find a mate that wanted him for who he was, not for how much money he has or his provisions. And because he found a woman in that movie Coming to America that he felt like was worthy of marrying and courting because she desired him based off of who he was and he saw similar values in her, she ended up, reaping the benefits. She was his queen, became his queen or princess, depending on how you look at it. And she had access to his his I was gonna say royalties, but his spoils, his provisions. Then you have Think Like a Man. And in this movie here, it's a couple of guys, and they break down different types of guys who are, to a degree, hopeless romantic and desire love, and what they might, the issues they might face when dating, and it depicts how difficult it can be in that movie to be a hopeless romantic man and trying to find love. Ghost of a Girlfriend's Past, one of my favorite. Matthew McConaughey, excuse me. He was a player. His parents weren't around. I think due to a car crash, and he was adopted or taken in by his uncle. His uncle was a player and gave him the ropes, and he grew his whole life with a certain attachment style that he avoided deep connections, and he would run from relationships out of fear of being hurt. And at the end of the movie, he makes a complete turnaround as far as the way he chose to date women. And it's a wonderful movie. Four Brothers, another story where there's four brothers struggling to find real love. And there's a lot of life lessons in this movie as well, with dealing with anxiety. That word is going to pop up a lot. Um, Relationship anxiety is a real thing. When you've been hurt so much, when you know your worth, when you are God fearing, when you're trying your best, when you know, you're walking through faith, and then you just keep getting crushed and you keep getting let down, you keep getting disappointed, and then you're watching these videos with women talk about their unrealistic requirements and standards towards men, and you're like, oh my God, am I ever gonna find love? Then we have Two Can Play That Game, where a man was, more played by Morris Chestnut, was very accomplished, and he had a good woman played by Vivica Fox, and he made a mistake. He went on a date with a woman he shouldn't have, but he got caught in the act. and he did face, fess up to it, but she decided out of her own relationship anxiety that she was going to run him through the ringer and teach him a lesson. And we watch him struggle with trying to find love and trying how he handles love. So these movies here, if you're a hopeless romantic, there are so many plots that you've connected to, probably had a tearjerker moment or two. Let's be real. This is a safe place right here. All right. This is for the hopeless romantic men, not the players, not the misogynistic men, not the alpha males who require a woman to be submissive and he can do whatever you want to do, not the high value man who makes over $500,000 a year or two, three. He's worth millions and he deserves and feels entitled to having multiple wives and girlfriends as if he's Neo and they got to sign NDAs and he's driving around in Bentleys. This ain't for them. All right, this is a safe place for men who consider themselves hopeless romantic. I am not trying to drag this point on. I just want to make it clear on this right here, on this home screen, what I'm about to break down. Okay. How to date successfully, though, as a hopeless romantic. And before I get started, I, your boy Jerome, am a hopeless romantic. So this is not from an outside perspective. This is me talking from how I feel. And I like to do videos that resonate and connect with other men in order to validate them and to bring, clarity and guidance if I can at all possible. Okay. All of that being said, right? You are a hopeless romantic man. What is that? What are you made of? What are some things that describe a hopeless romantic man? Let's get started. He desires love. You want to be loved. You believe in love. You desire love. You can't stop thinking about love. You value love. Aw, right? But not to that degree, right? It's just a desire in your heart. You believe in God. You believe that love is one of those things that is worth cherishing and worth having, and you'd like to have it. Uh, but you fall for chemistry rather than compatibility or maybe even things that are more sustainable. You know what I'm saying? As far as chemistry is concerned, you vibe with somebody, you feel connected to that person, and you may begin to fall. Okay, and by fall, you didn't fall on the ground. You know what I'm talking about. You started having feelings for this person. And even if they weren't the greatest, biggest feelings, you know what I'm saying? You had some. You if you're being honest with yourself, they started to grow. You believe in love at first sight. Excuse me, that was my phone. So basically, believing in love at first sight is one of those fairy tale things. You know, you see somebody and you have high expectations and hopes for this person, and you like you're interested in them. This is again you falling for chemistry. You believe that it's possible, even if it's never happened to you. You do believe in love at first sight. You begin to imagine a future with the person that you have chemistry with. So your brain and your heart goes into a different realm and outside of your body, and you start to think to yourself that I can see myself with this person long term. Uh, and the issue with this one is that this might happen early on. You know, as soon as maybe the first date, between the first date and or first meeting this person, or a couple of dates. So basically, you can imagine a future. You start to think about it. You go to sleep. You might have dreams about it. You have high hopes and expectations for this person early on. You trust easily. You're not the type that feels like trust needs to be earned. It's something that you give and people can lose your trust, but you trust easily. You're like, okay, this person said that they're this, they said that they believe in that. I'm just going to believe them. I don't know if they're lying. They haven't given me any reason to doubt them. Why not? You are deeply hopeful for love. Okay, that's where the hopelessness comes from. You hope for love, and hope is a good thing. You believe in God and you have hope. You haven't given up on hope. You haven't decided that you're going to hurt women because you've been hurt. You have made a conscious decision that you're going to keep hope alive and you're going to pursue each situation as if it's another opportunity that you have possibly found love. Nothing wrong, no judgment. You are emotionally open and available versus someone who is nonchalant or shut down or emotionally unavailable. You can express yourself. You are ready for love, right? Like these are all good things, right? Emotionally open. How many times have you heard a woman say, I'm not looking for a man who is closed off emotionally, and all these players acting nonchalant and avoidant of love, and they run from the idea of it, and they do things intentionally like ignore women and blah, 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 just to make sure that they don't fall and slip. And then you even hear people say, don't fall in love. Don't ever fall in love with a woman. But you don't live by those rules. You're emotionally open and available. Okay, you might even be obsessed with the story. Okay, I'm relating to all of these things, by the way. And being obsessed with the story is that you might think to yourself fairy tale-ish again, to where you're thinking to yourself that, I met this person this way and it ended up this way. And you're kind of obsessing over the story as to what story you would tell at a wedding or later on down the line, imagining a future. You're thinking like, we're going to talk about this one day, how this was this love story that should be told, so you're obsessing over the story again. Uh, you tend to overlook red flags. This isn't intentional, but when you are wearing those rose-colored glasses because you're a hopeless romantic and you just deeply hopeful for love and you're easily trusting, red flags, you tend to overlook those, and you're focused more on someone's potential, and you see them, you hear them, the red flags, but you are stuck in a place mentally and emotionally where you could see past those red flags. You're more so focused on the way someone makes you feel rather than things like purpose and things being aligned that would potentially work or not work in your favor. If you think about longevity and sustainability, this person makes you feel a certain kind of way by their behaviors. We're going to get into that. I'm going to break that down further. But you're focused more on how you feel about somebody versus the strict policies you might have that are deeply rooted as far as uh compatibility goes and sustainability long term. Okay, you have pure intentions. Okay, you are looking for love. You desire love. You know what I'm saying? So you believe in love at first sight. You're emotionally open, overlooking red flags. You falling for the chemistry of a person. You desire love. So you have pure intentions. You don't have any intentions whatsoever. That's what makes you a good guy. And most of my content, well, all of my content is geared towards the good guy, or for the good guy. So having pure intentions is one of the major character traits of a good guy. As far as you being a hopeless romantic, there's a danger zone. There's a reason why your romantic comedy, so to speak, ends in tragedy and has always ended in tragedy. Even though you keep hope alive, there's a couple of things about you that get you in trouble. Let's be honest. This is going to be the part that makes your heart sink into your chest, and it's going to cause a little bit of ache, but being self-aware, you can learn and you can make the necessary adjustments if necessary. Let's move forward though. Enough time hasn't passed. Okay, you feel all of these emotions, but you haven't given things time. You're not in a rush per se, but the biggest danger zone or red flag within yourself is that enough time has not passed for you to be feeling the way you felt. And being aware of this, you should learn how to pace yourself. Okay. Have a little bit more discernment. Discernment being your ability to be a better judge of character. You know what I'm saying? And wisdom, you need wisdom. You need to make wise choices. You need to consider all things. Don't be in such a rush to fall for that love at first sight vibe that you might be having. Two, you're reliant on attention. And what I mean by this, it's not like you're not attention seeking, but based on the attention that you receive from this person, that is what validates you and lets you know that this person feels the same way that you feel. And that makes you comfortable and more, in pursuit of that person. And that's where you get your sense of reassurance from. And the second that this person's behavior shifts as far as the amount of attention and their availability to you, you know something's off. You're triggered. Okay. Next, rejection triggers inadequacy. Being that you have imagined such a future, such a possibility, your pure intention, you knew this was the one, you felt such a strong connection with this person. If they ghost you, if they reject you, if they judge you, if they disqualify you for any reason, you're not tall enough, you don't make enough money, you're not handsome enough, they have options, all the endless things that happen during modern dating, you can slip into feeling that you are inadequate and feeling like love just isn't for you, you're never going to find it. What's wrong with me? I'm a good guy, I'm not boring, I'm just focused and God fearing. Does any God fearing women still exist? Rejection triggers inadequacy within yourself. Okay. These are your own flaws as far as you being a hopeless romantic. You might suffer from relationship anxiety. You've been let down so many times. You've been hurt you never deserved it. You know, you've always had good intentions. You've always been a good guy and you've been let down. Oh my God. You lost count of how many times you've been let down. And you've always had good intentions. When dating is just that you just, for some kind of reason, keep attracting women that have no issues with rejecting you and no issues with disappointing you and betraying you and pushing you off to the side and acting like you are worthless. So you have, maybe unknowingly developed relationship anxiety, and it's kind of scary. You don't want to get hurt again. But because you have hope that has not died, and because you have faith that you rely in and on, you can't give up. You keep going. And the chances of you getting hurt again, significantly high. Trust has not yet been validated. This is a danger zone for you because you are, given all you got. You have put yourself in a very vulnerable position. And like I said in the beginning, I'm talking for myself too. So this is just what you do as a hopeless romantic person, but this is the danger zone. This is what gets you hurt repeatedly. Us hurt repeatedly. These things, you know what I'm saying? There's a key element going on, right? I think time is the element that is, obvious on this right here, is that we don't let enough time pass to, be able to reveal what's really going on. And, they say that time doesn't just, reveal someone's true colors. Time also reveals who's been pretending. So already, you guys, if you learn how to pace yourself emotionally and not humble, but calm yourself and just relax a little bit, then you'd be safer. You get out of the danger zone as far as your heart is concerned, because you be like, okay, I do like this person. I am a self-aware, hopeless romantic, but I just need to slow down. And I need to make sure that I'm making a better decision. One thing that helps for me before I go to the next slide here, I've recently within the last year and a half, I have removed intimacy or sex from my dating experience. That's something that I don't do fast or so soon anymore. And what that has done for me, I say this in a lot of my videos. Please check out other videos. I'm repeating myself because I'm trying to drill this home. When you don't discuss, let's talk about discussing sex early on. When you don't discuss sex with a woman, a modern woman especially, she can't, proposition you, because modern women are looking to extract and exploit men because they're more of the opportunist. But if you don't bring up sex or you don't lead with sex and you're not making sexual references, comments, innuendos, and things like gestures and stuff like that, she can't proposition you for the exchange because she's a transactional creature. And if you don't mention sex or bring it up verbally, then she doesn't have any interpersonal skills, and then you would know that woman was just looking for the transaction, regardless of what she appeared like or sounded like. You know that if you don't bring up sex and this woman doesn't have any further communication for you, she starts ignoring you. You weren't on her level. You weren't giving her what she needed in order for her to get what she needed, which is your money, your provisions, whatever, to use you for a date, etc., etc. But if you did happen to entertain a woman and you managed to make it into the dating phase, early dating phase with her, and she was entertaining you and you had never discussed sex, so you're thinking, okay, I'm in the green, right? By you not being in a rush, the same thing happens. You find out sooner than later if that's all she was looking for. And if whether that's all she's looking for because she is dealing with lust, or whether she's looking for that in order for her to, again, proposition you to make an exchange, like you pay for it or you pay her bills or blah, 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 all of this good stuff. So that's just a little off script tip that I've used in my real life, and it's going really good. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a very good headspace, and hopefully that can help you. Grace hasn't been earned. You are forgiving, overlooking flags. You are non-judgmental. You are saying, you know what, I don't want to read too much into things. You're being a good, wholesome, God-fearing man, and you're like, I'm not perfect. Why? How could I expect someone else to be perfect? And this is the danger zone for us because you give so much grace and you ignore red flags and you overlook things that you probably should read a little bit more into. You might even do what a lot of us immature men, I've been this way before, do, where you avoid asking questions that you are afraid to know the answers to. Let me say that again for those in the back. You avoid asking women questions that you are afraid to hear the answer to. No good. Okay, we have to face this one head up. We have to start asking those questions. Are you currently dealing with anyone else? We don't want to hear the answer to that. That's going to hurt us. But her answer will tell you how to proceed. She might say, I mean, I'm not committed to nobody. I mean, right now I'm just casually dating. And we know what casually dating means. All right. That means that she's keeping her options open. That means that she's entertaining as many people as she wants to. It can be one or it can be 100. You'll never know. And if you start asking her questions, she's going to try to make you feel like you're weird, etc., etc. So these dangerous zones right here, not enough time hasn't passed. You're reliant on their attention and that you're getting and receiving from this woman, and rejection triggers you not feeling like you're not good enough. You have relationship anxiety, trust issues from the past, and you just don't want to be hurt again. And trust hasn't even been validated, and you're given a little bit too much grace. This is what the dark side of a hopeless romantic looks like. Now, let's get to the juicy part, and then I'm gonna bring it to a close. Boom. How attraction works for a hopeless romantic. I put to the left your pitfalls because this is probably going to be the things that make you fall or get hurt and get your heart broke. A hopeless romantic attracts narcissists, modern women, and good women. Okay. Now, being that you trust easy, when you run across a narcissistic person, they have a false image. So you're trusting something that doesn't even exist. Okay. This is going to get you hurt. That's why they're red. Okay. Danger zone. Guaranteed. Uh, they tell you anything that they think you want to hear. But because you trust easy, you might not buy the role that they're selling you, but you allow it through the filter system. And this is what causes you to get hurt. Because you fall for chemistry, chemistry being just the overall vibe, this person is going to match your energy and mirror you. So again, you're falling for something that doesn't exist. A narcissistic woman has the ability to match energy. Again, you want to go back and watch a couple of my other videos because I discuss matching of energy and how I feel about it and what it actually means from my perspective. Of course, I'm no professional, it's just personal, but if you value my opinion, you might want to hear it. So matching of energy, we don't do that. We set a tone. That person either is on your level. If they fall short, you have a conversation. If they can't be on your level, you remove yourself. If you're imagining a future with somebody that you have a chemistry with, guess what? Yeah, you see it. Narcissists future fake. They say, we're going to go here. We're going to do this. They start saying we like they're French or somebody. And, you buy into this. You're imagining the future. They cater to that. They future fake you. So right now you're thinking that this person in the red is a perfect match for you. This is dangerous. This is how someone is able to play on your emotions as a hopeless romantic. Their attention is the fuel that you need. It shows you how they feel about you. Well, guess what? A narcissist requires a lot of attention. So you start feeling like, well, so do I. Right? And you buy into that. But see, a narcissist requires a lot of attention because they're attention seeking. And they have an inadequate, they're actually inadequate. And they actually have a void that they're trying to fill as far as the amount of attention that they'd like to receive. So, um, but you can't see that on a surface level. So you use the kind of attention and the amount of attention as fuel to gauge where you stand with that person. But this person requires your attention. So you might think, okay, it's the same thing, but it's not. The motive behind it is completely different, but it appears to be just like you. So they're not even intentionally mirroring you on this one, but you just feel mirrored and you just feel fulfilled. You just feel compatible with this person because of that. And because you ignore red flags, this person, when red flags do come about, they have the manipulative skills needed to gaslight you and to deflect. And gaslighting, if you don't already know, a lot of you probably already do. Gaslighting is when something you've seen it and they have the ability to make you feel crazy. Like, that didn't happen. That ain't what you saw. They might even, depending on how diabolical and demonic they are, they might even go as far as to laugh in your face and be like, wow, you really do have trust issues. That's not even what it was. And that laughter just really makes you feel, okay, maybe I'm tripping. And deflecting is when they pretty much, if you can imagine someone doing Taekwondo or Bruce Lee, where he's blocking everything, they blocked all your accusations. They're like, nope, that's not it. Nope, nope, that was you. It's like they're pew, pew, dodging everything you throw their way. They're deflecting. Okay, so you're ignoring red flags, but if you do ever bring up one, they're gonna pew, dodge it. They're gonna be like, nope, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. So I put that in red because this is your worst enemy. This is the person that's probably gonna hurt you the most. Okay, you want to dodge this person at all possible, and I'm gonna explain that to you in a second. A modern woman, which may have narcissistic traits, but we're not going to label the modern woman a narcissist. They're in yellow because you want to be cautious of this person. You are, if you look to the left again, you trust easily. Well, with them, they withhold details. Some of these things a narcissist will do too, but with them withholding details from you, excuse me, I just hit the mic. With them withholding details from you, well, you didn't ask, so they don't tell. And they avoid that accountability. They avoid the shame of knowing that they told you a lie. They never told you anything. It's kind of like they're lying by omission, but you trust easy, so you didn't want to invade their personal information and space, so you didn't even ask. And maybe because of going back to what I said earlier, you would like to avoid asking questions that you don't really want to know the answer to. So this works perfectly in a scenario where you, a hopeless romantic man, is entertained or entertaining a modern woman who withholds details. As far as you falling for chemistry, what do you see on every modern woman's uh, dating profile? Or when she's talking to you, she says, it's a vibe. I'm looking for a vibe, all positive vibes. And you're like, yeah, duh, yeah, positive vibes. That's what I want. When you first meet a modern woman, they're all upbeat and bubbly and positive and likable, and the vibes are there. So vibes equate in a hopeless romantic's mind as chemistry, and you fall for that, and you start thinking that this is the one. Okay, but here's one thing I want to say about a modern woman and her vibes. Modern women, they go off of vibes and they create vibes because they want to. I'm probably jumping the gun and going to the last section on there, but they keep things surface level. They want to keep everything light. They don't want to have deep conversation. They don't want to. They need therapy, right? You notice when you talk to them, if you ask them questions that make them remember something that triggers them, they shut down. Okay, so this is a surface level creature right here. You know, vibes, focusing on the vibe, that means just say everything I like and nothing I don't. They lie to themselves. They wear a bunch of makeup to make themselves believe that they're really beautiful. When they take all of that off, that's really a 3.5 to a 5. But they are okay with lying to themselves because lies equate to vibes over there. And chemistry equates to vibes to you. So you're going off chemistry, and because you're focused on how that person's making you feel, they're going off of vibes. Yeah, vibes are the lies that they tell themselves that make them feel better. So that's not really going to work. It's not necessarily going to hurt you, but it is something that you're going to see later on. Like, this ain't really compatible with who I am and what I'm looking for long term. As far as you imagining a future with this person, they like to leave. Modern women like to leave things open for your interpretation. So you'll meet a modern woman that claims that she is casually dating, but she is open to the idea of serious relationship, or she'll say that she's going with the flow. Certain things that she is going to say is going to leave your mind open to the interpretation. And I have a video on this. Come on, y'all, go surfing. But the way they communicate with hopeless romantic men and men in general, but we're keeping it specific here, is they leave things open to your interpretation. And then you have just future faked yourself. You imagined a future that they didn't promise you. They just left it open to your interpretation, and you interpret it as if there was one possible. That's why they say things like, I'm looking for friends. And then you think to yourself, we can start as friends, or she might even say we can start as friends, and then she leaves the future that you're imagining open to your interpretation. Mm, somebody heard me. Okay, as far as the attention that you receive, the type of attention that you receive from this person, fueling you and reassuring you, this person's transactional. You're going to get all the attention that they have to give you as long as you are serving their needs. And whenever you come up short, or she has found someone else that's willing to do more, or whatever the case may be, your attention level that you receive from her and the type of attention that you receive from her will dwindle away. And then you will naturally go into a space where you are starting to feel inadequate, or not good enough, or neglected by this person because they are transactional. And you're ignoring red flags, right? But they want to keep things surface level so that you don't see red flags. If they talk less and let you do all the talking, then they don't put their foot in their mouth. They don't have to remember lies that they told. They like to not do all the talking and listen and figure you out and know who you are while you're still open to trying to figure out who they want to remain a mystery. So the mystery is a red flag, but you don't know how to label it because you don't even know what to do with that kind of information. There's not enough context for you to make a strong, solid um, decision on how to proceed with that information. Now, when you meet a good woman, it's not going to all be peaches and cream and rainbows and butterflies. Okay. You trust easy as a hopeless romantic. And when you trust easy, you definitely want reciprocity. But a good woman, she could be slow to trust. And so this can make you feel uneasy because now you get a little bit defensive because now you feel like, well, she don't trust me, I don't trust her. And if she has trust issues, why? And you start questioning things like that. And we have to be real with ourselves. I'm gonna talk about it in a quick second, but we have to. There's something that we need to recognize within ourselves. We might suffer deeply from relationship anxiety. But you trusting easy and her being slow to trust, you should get like her. You should be trying to slow it down, okay? And let time. This is a good thing. Someone who is willing to take their time. Yeah, okay. But here goes the thing with the slow to trust. Narcissistic women don't trust anybody. Okay, they fall under the guidelines of play or be played because they don't trust anybody. And the reason why a narcissistic person doesn't trust anybody because they know that they can't be trusted. So they can't see past their own nose. They're like, if I can't be trusted, I don't trust nobody, and I know I ain't crap. And then you in behind closed doors, and when they're talking to their friends and people that aren't you, they are talking like this. They're being open and honest, but around you, they are giving you a false image. But reality is that they don't trust anybody. But a good woman, it can throw you off. And this is why you might question their slow trust because you're like, okay, why don't you trust anybody, right? Like, are you trustworthy yourself? But if you were slow to trust yourself, you'd be okay with someone being slow to trust. As far as you falling for chemistry, you're focused on the energy that you're getting and the vibes, right? But this person, a good woman, she's asking you questions and she's seeking a compatible mate based off of his purpose. Like, does he have the same things in mind as me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want marriage, I want kids. Like, just as an example, does he want marriage and does he want kids? Okay, so again, if that's not where your head is and she's looking for that, you could fumble with the good woman because a good woman has purpose and you need to be in alignment with your purpose. You need to deal with your relationship anxiety and make sure that you are within your purpose when before you meet a good woman, or a good woman could help you realize this, that you need to be focusing more on your purpose. Okay. As far as you imagining a future, when you have a good woman in your presence, she's going to let you know. She's going to verbalize her expectations, whether that's having kids or getting married or financial requirements that she has. And now, yes, this is one of those areas, right? Some women, modern women mostly, they require that you make a certain amount of money, but there is nothing wrong with the woman requiring that a man is financially stable. And by stable, I don't mean that you make $100,000+ a year. Stable as if you're just self-reliant and you're self-sufficient, you work hard, you know how to get up and get it, you go to work. Okay, she is going to let you know what those expectations are as far as the future, and if she wants to, where she wants to go. And I, let me take a quick sidebar right here. The woman is not in control here. All right, the man is always going to be the leader in every situation, good or bad, when dealing with a woman. But the thing is, when you run into a real woman, it could throw you off because her assertiveness can come off as demanding and controlling. This is just a woman who has zero tolerance for, maybe she'd like to avoid inadequate men or narcissistic men. So this is not directly or instantly a red flag for a woman to have expectations as far as the future is concerned. Okay, you might need to check yourself when it comes to the attention the type of retention and the amount of retention that you receive from a good woman. It's going to be reciprocated. This woman is going to reach out to you just as much as you reach out to her. a lot of men fumble here because they get comfortable. And relationship can be looked at as a game or a full-time job. Depending on your mindset, I would like to look at it like a full-time job, but kind of not like a job that I don't like not a dead end job, but like a hobby or a passion that you have. You just so happen to benefit from that passion. Um, you're going to have to show up. This is something that a woman's going to beat you at attention. She, she's a woman is made of feelings. She's going to beat you at this game. She's going to show you more attention than you show her, and then you might be like, okay, ooh, that's a lot. I thought I needed attention, but she's showing me a lot. You, she's going to beat you, so you would have to match her. If you wanted a real good woman attention, she's going to need that from you, and this is a hopeless romantic thing. A good woman could be looked at as a hopeless romantic. This could be an issue when you're dating a good woman. Like, ooh, I needed attention. I ain't think about giving it. Yeah, you better consider giving some attention. As far as ignoring red flags, she's gonna be consistent. If you are dealing with relationship anxiety, her being consistent might trigger insecurities. Again, this is something that you need to be working on yourself. And I don't believe you should let a woman see all of your inadequacies. I think that you need to be, it's best that you work on yourself before getting into the dating. But if you haven't and a good woman approaches you or you approach one and you come across one, however it happens, and then you start realizing things within yourself, being self aware is the best place to start, because now you know, okay, let me look into this. I need to make adjustments. You don't necessarily have to have that conversation with her. Hopefully, you catch these things before she has this conversation with you. But if she has these conversations with you and you're already to a degree self aware, it won't be so hard for you to receive. Self awareness, guys. Okay, this video pretty much is about self awareness. I wasn't trying to be, making everything just feel like sugar and sweet to you. It's the reality. And the thing is, I'm a hopeless romantic, so everything I said applies to me. That's why I can be so thorough on the topic. Okay. In closing, having relationship anxiety is normal, and it's something that I suffer from. And that's what even triggered this video. I like to do content that is not for your only for your entertainment, but for your edification and mine too, and for your validation. So um when you are, dealing with relationship anxiety, you could be easily afraid to get your heart broke. But you being a hopeless romantic who hasn't given up on hope, you may um still pursue it even though you're afraid. And we have to either seek therapy, talk to the right people, watch videos like this, self reflect, do the inner work, so that when you get to that green zone, that good woman, when you come across that woman, you'll be ready and you won't fumble it. Okay, we don't want to fumble good ones. We want to get rid of the narcissist women and the modern women, but we don't want to fumble a good woman. And so, uh, this is why I called this video, how to date as a hopeless romantic man, because we're trying to navigate these rough terrains. I hope I've validated some men out there. I hope I've connected with you, and I hope that it resonates with you. If it has, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe. But if you are new to my channel, you are listening to the voice of Jerome. I do show my face, just not on these videos here, because I wanted to drive points home with my diagrams that I created myself. But please give me a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you are not, thank you for being here. And I'll be back with you shortly. All right, until next time, two fingers.